Jimmy, very welcome to Cavan and back in Ireland again. Are you excited to be here for tonight's exhibition?
I love Ireland. I've been coming to Ireland since I was a young man. I mean, Cavan tonight, I mean, Roscommon tomorrow night, and I have my appendix out there, so I'll be going to the hospital to say hello to the nurses who looked after me.
Oh my goodness, so you're like taking it easy, I hope.
Yeah, we're just, you know, there's just playing, we got a tournament coming up in China, we all go on Thursday. And then 2 weeks' time we got the World Championship, so we're pretty busy.
Yeah, you are busy. So Jimmy, you've been known as the Jimmy the Whirlwind White, but also the People's Champion. But recently you said in a radio interview that you're going to come back and you're going to win a World Champion.
I won a tournament a couple of years ago. It's very difficult to win the World Championships. You know, I've been a professional for 30 years. Lots of new young players about. So someone of my age, it's not impossible, but you know, if you've got to keep your game together for 17 days. But I still love practicing, I'm still enjoying it, and while I'm still playing good, I'm going to hopefully win the World Championships.
Well, we really hope you do. You are unique in the sense that you've reached 6 World Championships, and yes, sad face here as well, but you know, you're unique in that sense, but do you feel that, you know, you can come back stronger again? Everybody hopes and everyone's behind you the whole time.
It's not impossible, you know, in sports funny things happen. It's not like boxing or football. You don't have to be super fit. You know, as long as your eyes are okay, you've got the enthusiasm, and you keep playing, you've got every chance. And my game's still there, so I should keep the dream going, and while my game's there.
And looking back on them 6 finals, is there anything you would do different now?
I'd have gone to bed early.
Yeah, that's a good one. Obviously, you know, you've battled through cancer and you've won that battle, but you know, you're back in good health now.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I've just. I've been okay now for 12 years, so I'm pleased that we do quite a bit for testicle cancer, but no one can do enough really, but I'm pleased to be involved in certain charities.
That's brilliant. And on a final note, Jimmy, what's it like to be Jimmy White?
Okay. Get to meet you.
Yeah, great. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. I was just saying to the guys in Cavan TV that I got to sit up after 12 o'clock to watch you play.
Oh, right. Yeah,
so it was always a special treat. But thank you very much for speaking to us on All About Sport on Cavan TV. Thank you.
Thank you very
Jimmy White, thank you.
Nice
Thanks very much. I am joined by Ken Doherty. Ken Doherty, thank you so much for joining us on All About Sport. So 3 legends in the one room here in the Kilmore Hotel in Cavan. Are you excited about the night ahead?
2 legends and me.
Yeah. Oh, you're very modest.
No, it's always, you know, something I've played here in the Kilmore Hotel against Jimmy White 100 years ago, and I played Alex Higgins here as well many years ago. I've always had a great time here in Cavan, and there's always been good crowds, and it looks like there's going to be another good crowd tonight. So yeah, it's great, and to play, you know, 2 guys that I've known for years, watched on telly for years as well. I grew up watching them first of all on TV, and I used to hate Steve Davis because he always used to beat my hero. Alex Higgins was my hero, you know.
Well, actually, yeah,
but now I love him. You know, we work together at the BBC, and we have some great nights like tonight, and great fun, great banter, and you know, the crowd are in for a treat tonight because they'll probably see the likes of myself, Steve and Jimmy in a totally different light, you know, and it's just a bit of fun, bit of snooker, and a few jokes in between.
Brilliant. You were obviously under 21 world champion, amateur world champion, and of course in 1997 you were world champion, professional world champion. But what's your you know, your best memory?
My best memory, I suppose, yeah, winning the world championship and bringing it home. You know, coming home with the open top bus from the airport. That was you know, all the family and friends, and coming through the streets of Dublin, and then sort of landing back in Renla in my old village, and showing the cup around. It was fantastic. I had a great 12 months with the cup. And some great memories. Bringing it out into Old Trafford as well, of course, was great.
Brilliant.
And Lansdowne
and you're a big Man United fan.
Big Man United fan, yeah.
A dream.
It was a dream, yeah. And bringing it out into the middle of Lansdowne Road as well, in front of an Irish crowd when Ireland were playing the World Cup qualifier. So I had a lot of great memories from '97. And yeah, it's been good to me, snooker. You know.
Obviously, you derailed Stephen Henry in you know, his 6th consecutive world crown. Sure. Did that sweeten the win a little bit for you?
Absolutely, it was lovely, and I keep reminding him about it as well. Yeah, and particularly against Stephen Henry, because at the time he was the greatest, probably still the greatest himself, and Ronnie O'Sullivan, the greatest players that's ever played the game. So to beat him in the final was extra special. It wasn't like you could say, well, it's never really a fluke to win the World Championship anyway, because you got to win so many good matches. But I think to beat him in the final, he was unbeaten in the previous 5 years. So to beat him was extra special. Yeah, I get great mileage out of it.
Good. Do you play with a warped cue? Is that true?
I do, yeah.
Do you have it here with you tonight?
I have it here. That's the cue. I won the World Championship. I paid a very sizable sum of £2 for it back in 1981, I think it was. So I still have it. Yeah. So I've had it since for a long time.
Yeah. Of course, Steve was just saying that he thinks you are the best poker player. I know you're all a huge interest in poker, but how did you get involved in poker?
Well, Steve. It was all Steve's fault, because he came with a laptop to one of the snooker tournaments once and showed us, mesmerised how you can play poker at a table with someone from New Zealand, Canada, America, South Africa, and Germany all at the same time. So that we were hooked straight from there, and the fact that you can play, we have so much free time, in hotels, and you get so bored. So, you could play a little bit of poker online and competition. It's only small stakes, but it passes the time. And so it was all his fault when he came. I don't know how long ago it was now, maybe 10 or 15 years ago now, when he first introduced us to it. And so, we have some great fun, particularly if you take a pound off Steve Davis, you've done well at poker, let me tell you.
You all seem to be really good friends, and although you've all probably competed against each other, you still get on very well.
Absolutely, yeah. But wait until you get out on that table, then you see it goes out the window. You leave the friendship in here, particularly against these two. They're tough as old boots.
How's your preparations for the World Championships coming along?
Well, we've been playing a lot of tournaments. We've just come back from China, myself and Jimmy and Steve. We've got to go to China again on Saturday for another China Open. That'll be on Eurosport live, and then of course we have the qualifiers for the World Championship the week after that when we come home, and then the World Championship is on in April. So hopefully, we've got we all got to qualify. So hopefully we will, and we'll get there. It'll be nice to play in Sheffield again. That'd
be great. We look at Ken Doherty. I'll not keep you any longer. I know you've got a huge audience awaits you all, but thank you very much for speaking to us on All About Sport. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I am now joined by Steve Davis, 6 times world champion. Steve, thank you very much for speaking to us on All About Sport. How are you feeling to be here in Cavan in Ireland?
It's great to be anywhere, to be quite honest. It's great to be alive. It's nice to come to Ireland. We do quite a number of exhibitions, and the crack is good. It's a good laugh. It's the other side of snooker. It's the competitive stuff you see on the television. But there's always been the fact that snooker is, for many people, a pastime. And therefore, if they go down their club, it's their bit of fun. So when we do snooker exhibitions, they are much more fun, and they're more about the entertainment value that snookers can give you in another way other than competitive stuff.
Now, of course, you're playing against Ken and Jimmy tonight, but will there be a little bit of a competitive side, edging through?
Well, of course, people come to see hopefully some good snooker as well. So we try and get a balance between having a bit of fun. I do some trick shots, and it's much more relaxed. But we still like to compete against each other because the performance that you give is pride of performance, and you can't really just smash the balls up all the time and knock it. You have to try and play to try and win, because that's part of the game as well. So getting the balance right is sort of perhaps the key to it all. But the end result is we want everybody to go away with a smile on their face and say that they had a great night, and if it came again, they come back.
You are a 6-time world champion, but what is your most memorable win?
Probably, I've not got a great memory. So therefore, if you're talking about World Championships, that was so long ago, I can't really remember. Obviously, the '85 final where I lost to Dennis Taylor on the black ball is indelibly but it wasn't a win, it was a loss, but it was still a very important part of snooker, and I still consider that was something I look back on now and think, well, what a great thing to be involved in. My best win? Probably when I beat John Higgins about 4 years ago in the World Championship, when he was supposed to slaughter me, and I actually turned it around and beat him. So when you're the underdog, sometimes when you win those matches, they're the nicest ones.
You obviously dominated snooker in the 1980s, but how do you see much of a difference between snooker now and snooker then?
The games are, I think, probably a lot more... We've sort of got to the end of it, we're getting closer to what human beings can produce on a table with much more accuracy, I feel. The likes of the top players, there's more of them, so therefore the margins are smaller, and that means that nobody can guarantee to dominate. But then we see Ronnie O'Sullivan starting to dominate, so it shows how good he is. But I don't know how far we can push the game further. You know, the levels of standard they're now producing are getting higher all the time, and it's much more of an aggressive game. It's kill or be killed rather than don't dare go for that one, you might miss it. Yeah, that used to be how it was more.
Okay, so you're also known as a cool and calm player, but more recently you took to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and I was glued to television. I thought, how is Steve Davis going to fare out in this? But you really, showed another side to Steve Davis, that you're quite a funny character underneath it all.
Well, we had a good laugh in there, and actually a lot of the stuff that wasn't shown was even, I don't think I'd laughed as much in ages. On a daily basis, some stupid things happened, and it was just great fun to be involved. The camaraderie in the camp was good. I had no idea what I was letting myself in for. Jimmy had been in about 5 years before, and he did say that there was moments of downtime when it can get quite boring, just hanging around. But I've got to be honest, the characters in our bunch were so strong, so funny, that it was just a pleasure to be involved. And I didn't eat anything bad. I had quite a good time of it in there. It was a bit like a sort of a holiday camp to some degree, other than the fact we were starving hungry. But great fun to be involved in.
Joey Essex, I love Joey Essex. Are you good friends with him?
Well, I've not seen him since, but we kept sort of Twitter kept in touch. But he's off doing his own things at the moment. But I've kept in touch with some of the people. But Joey was a star, just an absolute one-off star, and then that's what he was in there for, really. They knew he was going to be good value, and I think he's learned to tell the time, which is marvellous.
Great, I know.
Fantastic. We're all pleased, but as long as when he gets to learn to blow his nose at the same time, then we're all buzzing. We're all buzzing.
He's a funny guy. You have many strings to your bow, but one that really grabbed my attention was that you have published 3 cookery books. Now, are you a whiz in the kitchen, or what is that about?
Nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. It was on the back of an advert for Cross and Blackwell, I believe, back in the 80s, sort of cooking sauces going back many days, and they produced a load of cookery books with like interesting recipes in it. It was a play on the boring, interesting thing. They weren't my favourite books. My favourite book was How to Be Really Interesting, which wasn't really about being interesting, it was about the opposite. So
your son Greg wants to follow his dream and become a snooker player. Is he still, working in that direction?
No, my 2 boys, one's uni and the other's an international playboy. My oldest boy was that for once.
He's a funny guy.
For a while, my oldest boy was trying to be a snooker player, but it's tough. So he's taken up poker at the moment. He's really enjoying himself. He's going down a non-working road, and I think if you can, and I've got to say, it's helped me all my life. Playing, all I do is play every day. So therefore, if you can find a job where you don't work, happy days.
Oh, brilliant. And you love the poker yourself. What is the kind of link between snooker players and poker? Because I know Jimmy and Ken. Who's the best?
I think Ken's the best, actually. I think I'd like to think I was good, but I think Ken's got a bit of a flair for the game. But I think the fascination is snooker's a game. If you like games, you like all types of games. But with poker, I think it's captured the imagination of many people because it's got strategy and there's different levels of it that you can never get bored with trying to improve. I know there's a few quid to be won, but I don't think it's necessarily about that. It's the fact it's testing yourself, and people like to try to improve their games, or whatever they do, they try to improve. And poker's got so many levels of improvement that you can never completely master it. It's ideal from that perspective.
Very good. So on a final note, I better let you get in for this exhibition. Do you want me to finish?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
No? We'll keep going. We'll sit back and have a drink. On a final note, what's it like to be Steve Davis?
I would say being in the public eye and the fact that I've been lucky enough to make my hobby into my profession, you cannot beat that. But being in the public eye is genuinely a joy. It's like the world's a happier place because everybody smiles at you. There's no barriers, no defences up. People are generally nice to you straight away. A few doors are open because of that. But generally, being in the public eye is a very nice experience.
Oh, look, thank you so much for taking the time to see. It's an absolute pleasure, Steve Davis. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the exhibition. Thank you.